and strong to make it alright. Please know that you're safe here with me tonight, 'cause I am here for you if you need to. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Akure Rame, Jugakure Rame, Sakure Rame, Sri Guru Deve Namah. I am afraid, it hurts so deep inside, but it won't be long till we will rise. And I know that we are safe together here tonight. And I am here for you if you need to. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare if you need to. Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Welcome to Conscious Living Radio here at 100.5 FM CFRO in Vancouver. My name is Marc Caron, and you're just listening to Will Blunderfeld. That was Hare Krishna. It's a fitting song for our guest this evening. And Will's a local Kundalini yoga teacher, musician, artist here in Vancouver. He's also performs many different concerts and different gigs around town. There's one coming up September 24th. If you're interested in learning more about Will, you can come and see him there. All the information's on consciousliving.org. But tonight our guest is Yogi Amandeep. Yogi Amandeep is a modern-day yogi with an ancient wisdom and believes yoga and meditation shouldn't be restricted to four walls of studios. It should be made part of daily activities. Since technology is a big part of modern life, Yogi Amandeep realized a great opportunity to make a conscious use of technology and founded a virtual reality tech company, VR Yogi, which is, you can check it out at thevryogi.com. VR Yogi shares the ancient technology of yoga to the worldwide audience and offers a relatively low-risk, highly effective approach to regulating the stress response. It proves visually engaging, deeply meditative experiences, and is set in the remote and most inaccessible locations in the Himalayan mountains, the birthplace of yoga. Welcome, Yogi Amandeep.
Thank you. It's my privilege today to be here and in this time and space to share the wisdom of the Himalayas, to share the wisdom of the stars.
Well, I know I was checking out your website, and you had some really beautiful images of some of your work up in the Himalayas. It's just, and they say, yoga comes from the Himalayas, is where it originates from, where all the great yogis downloaded their messages and transcended and bringing yoga to the world, I guess. So maybe you can tell us really more about your story, who you are, where you're from, your background, and kind of what got you, not everybody from India is a yogi, right? So just, tell us your story.
Yeah, my story and even your story and every individual story on the planet starts from the Himalayas. So we came down in the form of stardust. And that stardust, where it first fell upon, that location became the Himalayas. So from stardust, we went into minerals and into many incarnations. And here we are, you and me and all those beautiful listeners who are listening to us. So our story, not just my story, but the collective story of humanity starts from the Himalayas. And so it was my vision, it was my dream to bring the living Himalayas. Himalayas are seen as living mountains. So not all the mountains are living. And the Himalayas are seen as the living mountains because they grow an inch every year. Okay, and it's my dream to bring the living Himalayas into the living room of everyone, and that's how we started with virtual reality and many other beautiful projects. So I was born, in the foothills of the Himalayas, and I longed, to share the wisdom of the stars which touched the Himalayas. And with time, I met many great masters and teachers, and now I'm just traveling around the world, sharing this wisdom. So that's me. Yeah. Once upon a time, I wanted to be in the caves all my life. So I ran away from home 4 times. And the universe, the cosmos, the stars, the Himalayas wanted me to do something else. And here I am doing something else than to just sit in the Himalayas.
Well, we're glad that the Himalayas, give you a push out, because we're fortunate to have you here.
Thank you.
Anytime we can have a, bona fide yogi and guru, teacher from India, for me, I'm just honored and really humbled to be in your presence. And I thank you for coming on the show today, because as I shared with you before we got on the air today, I have a love affair with ancient India, and through my own experiences and my own awakening. So anytime I can be in the presence of a master, I'm here to learn and soak up whatever I can.
Beautiful.
So I guess my first question is, when we take a look at yoga, there's so many different yogas out there, and Vancouver has got yoga studios everywhere. It's kind of like a Starbucks on every corner. In Seattle, yoga's kind of like that here in Vancouver. And I'm just kind of curious, because Kundalini is my favorite type of yoga, but there's so many different. You have Kundalini yoga, you have Hatha yoga, you have Iyengar yoga, and there's so many different variations. Maybe you can explain to our listeners why there's so many variations, and if there's any particular one that's any better than the other. Because Swami Nityananda, I believe you know who he is. He's teaching what he calls authentic yoga, from the origins of yoga. So I'm just curious where the distinctions lie in all the different practices, and if there's any one that's any better than the other.
Beautiful question. Well, yoga actually means to be with yourself, union with yourself. And There are many beautiful forms of yogas, as you have mentioned, Hatha Yoga, Iyengar Yoga. Do whatever fits you. But from my perspective, yoga can be defined into just 3 sutras. Sutras are seed statements, which is sit, breathe, and be. We have forgotten how to sit, and this is a fact. We have forgotten how to breathe, and we have forgotten how to be. Sitting, when you are physically sitting, a part of you is somewhere else. The ancient masters defined the mind, which is most of what we define ourselves is our thoughts. So if I was to ask you what you are, we will identify ourselves with our thoughts and with our emotions. That's the only part of our totality we have access to, right? So when we are here, we want to be there. And when you are there, you want to be here.
And if that's the case, then we're not really present, are we?
That's what I mean. So the first step to yoga, whatever form of yoga that is, standing on one leg, standing on 2 legs, or standing on your head, whatever, whatever fits you. But the core, the essence of all the yogic teachings is first to teach humanity how to sit. See, the Himalayas on this side is India, and on the other side is China. The whole emphasis of the yogic science was to teach man how to sit. On the other side of the Himalayas, the whole emphasis was how to teach man how to stand. So all that wisdom which came, which was given birth on the other side of the Himalayas, the whole emphasis is how to stand. Qi Gong, Tai Chi, it's all standing, how to stand. On this side, they wanted to teach man how to sit. So every ancient culture, from the Mayans to the Himalayans or to whatever, there was something unique they wanted to give to humanity. So the yogic science, now we are talking about specifically about the yogic science, the idea was how to sit. When you are here, you are here. When you are there, you are there. So the first step in the yogic wisdom, or the wisdom of the self, is how to sit. Second, how to breathe. We have forgotten how to breathe. In the words of my beloved master, Yogi Bhajan, he used to say, when the breath is shallow, life is shallow. When the breath is deep, life is deep. If your breath is shallow, you can have the most beautiful car and the beautiful sofa and a beautiful house, but your life will be shallow. But if your breath is deep, you can be on the footpath and yet you will experience the depth of life, because you are your breath. So first sitting, then breathing, deeper inhales and deep exhales. This is very important. And the third step is being. Now, there are 3 realms we exist all the time. But most of us in this modern life, we are just stuck in the first realm. The realm of thinking, and the realm of feeling, and the realm of being. So these are the 3 realms. We call these the 3 realms, or the Traloka, the 3 dimensions. The realm of thinking is known as the realm of demons. The realm of feeling is the realm of humans, and the realm of being is the realm of the gods. Okay? So we are in the modern world, we are constantly thinking all the time. Even when there is not, even while you're sleeping, your thinking takes the form of dreams. So you're always moving.
Well, hey, I'm thinking right now about everything you're saying.
Beautiful.
I just love the simplicity of some of these
so,
simple teachings.
So sitting, okay, then we learn how to breathe, and then we learn how to be. From the realm of thinking, and when you are in touch with your breath, you drop down. In English we have this beautiful word, fall in love. But have we ever wondered, where do we fall into? So when we say fall into love means from the realm of thinking, which is your head, fall down to the realm of feeling, which is your heart. So this is what actually falling in love means. When you start experiencing life, seeing life not in relation to your thoughts, but in relation to how you feel about it. So this is the first level of falling. Then the ultimate fall, which is you fall down into the realm of the navel, which is the realm of being. Now the navel is where your journey started. In the mother's womb, this is where our journey started. And this is known as paradesha. The yogic word for navel is paradesha. Paradesha means, para means beyond, desha means realm, which means the realm of the beyond, from which the English word paradise comes from. So falling down into paradise, you do not go to paradise. It's not somewhere else, somewhere higher beyond you. It is falling down into your heart, then falling down into the navel. The anchoring point from the yogic perspective, the navel is in the center of your body. The distance from navel to the tip of your head to the tip of the toe is the same. So this is the essence of all the yogic wisdom, regardless of the postures, regardless of the mantras, regardless of the mudras. The aim of all the yogic teachings is in its simplicity, which is how to teach humanity to sit, to breathe, and to be. So this is the teachings, and this is the essence, and this is what I share. Traveling all over the world. Dharma is simple, but we complicate it. And as you mentioned, there are yoga studios in every corner. We have complicated stuff. Maybe some people need complications.
Well, and especially in the West, it's very common to hear that in Western yoga is very, really mind-driven. Did I, strike that pose properly? Did I hold it? Did I look good enough? All of those things. And my experience on a number of occasions, some of the yoga classes I've been to have been very mechanical.
Beautiful.
Versus really tapping into the mind, body, and spirit connection.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
And that's why I love Kundalini yoga and authentic yoga in that sense, because it's really about what you're talking about, these three aspects. Now, when you talk about sitting, now, you had talked about presence.
Yes.
But now, is there also a posture in terms of sitting? Like there's, the full lotus position, which not everybody can do. And, but I understand it's really important to, really sit with an erect spine.
Beautiful.
Correct?
In order to understand what actually sitting means, I will share a short story.
Please.
This comes from the Buddha's life. It is stated that Buddha went to this specific village, and after visiting the village, he was going to pass through this forest, and the villagers warned him, do not go through that forest because there's a man who murders people. His name is Unglimal. And he has taken a vow to kill 100 people, and he have killed 99, and he's waiting for his 100th, person. So Buddha say, if that's the case, I will surely go through that forest. So Buddha walked through the forest, and the guy Unglimal, he saw someone coming. He had a presence. When he was walking, he was really walking, and this is an ultimate statement. When he was walking, he was walking. When he was talking, he was talking. So he saw him coming, and he shouted at him. He said, stop. Buddha kept walking. And again he shouted louder, stop. Buddha kept walking. And for the third time, he ran and he stood in front of the Buddha, and he said, I have been shouting at you to stop. Why did you not stop? And Buddha said, I have stopped a long time ago. Ever since I have sat under the Bodhi tree, since then I have been sitting. I have not moved an inch. So some of us, we can assess that sitting point in easy pose. Some of us can assess that point in, spine straight sitting on a chair. Simple. Some of us can attain that posture, attain that essence while cooking a meal for your loved one. So find something that gives you an anchoring. It can be singing also. It can be painting also. Once you have found your sitting posture, which is not necessarily a physical posture, although a physical posture can contribute to that experience, but do not limit that. So finding your essence, finding your posture, finding your inner sitting. Once you have found that, then every movement becomes a yogic posture. Every breath becomes a sacred sound because your breath has a sound, and your heartbeat has a drum. So synchronizing the flute of, in the words of the Sufis, they say, synchronize the flute of your breath with the drum of your heart. Then life becomes musical.
Wow.
Yeah.
I've never heard that before, but that's beautiful.
Yes, so find your posture, find your sitting, and then whatever you do, try to assess that sitting all the time. So when you are here, and that will help you fall in love. Yeah, because love is, most of us, we have only experienced love in its most shallowness, which is just thinking about something. We say, I love someone, but actually we're just thinking. It's an attachment.
Yes.
When love stays in the realm of thinking, it is attachment. So you have to go down into the realm of feeling. You have to feel. And feeling is not done by the head. The feeling is done by the body. They are sensations of love. So after falling into the sensations of love, you fall deeper into, you become the very love, So that is the sitting down when you have assessed the center point, which corresponds to the navel center in your body.
Wow. So now you said so many things. You got me. I'm thinking. I'm in my head as much as I'm in my heart. But I guess my question, you talked about attachment, and attachment's pretty prevalent here in the West, anyways.
Sure.
We're not just attached to things, whether it be our car, our home, our jobs. We're attached in relationships and everything else. What can you suggest anything for people who fall into that place of attachment? Because I really do my best to live a life of non-attachment, even though at times you kind of get attached. What kind of words of advice can you give us to release attachment?
Beautiful.
So that we can be free.
Beautiful.
Ultimately free.
See, the source of all the attachment is the attachment to our breath. We don't want to die. Okay, let's get this very clear first. The source of all attachments is the attachment to your breath, which represents life. So it's the attachment to life. Okay? So the coming breath is life. And the going breath is death. So every moment we are experiencing life and death at the same time. So attachment, attachment is a thought. I'm going very slow. Attachment is a thought, and the existence of the thought is there because of the coming and the going of the breath. Let's get these connections first. Attachment is a thought. Of course, it goes on to emotions and all that stuff as well, but the most raw form of the emotion is a thought. It's just a thought. And the source of all your thoughts is the coming and the going of your breath. So it is the attachment to the breath. Now, as long as the breath is moving, the thoughts will move. And the type of thoughts, let me just dive a bit more to give you the connections between thoughts and the breath. So the type of thoughts you have decides, or the breath that comes and goes, that decides the type of thoughts you have. So your thoughts are directly linked with your breath, and breath is coming and going. Now, as the breath goes out, there's a small millisecond where the outgoing breath changes its gear and becomes the incoming breath. And then it goes in and it stops for milliseconds, and there's a change of gear and it becomes the outgoing breath. Now, as long as the breath is moving, okay, mind or the thoughts are moving, attachment, stress, depression, addiction, all this is moving. Now, where the breath ends for a millisecond, the changing of the gear, at that moment, your mind stops. When mind stops, thoughts stop. Attachment stops. Stress stops. Depression stops. Whatever you identify yourself as the I or your story comes to an end. That moment, every individual on the planet becomes one. Because your breath also stops. My breath also stops. So every moment, in the breath itself, there is a release. Because in the breath itself is the story or the attachment. Finding the stop. In the words of Rumi, he says, where the road ends, I will meet you there. So the breath goes out. This is our road. Our mind is riding on this road. So the road ends, your road ends, everybody's road ends, we are meeting there. There you and me are one. There we have a cosmic story. There we do not go with our problems, our solutions. So the breath frees you at the end of your story, at the end of your road. So the solution to this is, may it be stress, may it be attachment or whatever, become aware of your breath. Now, one of the main things in the mainstream yogic teachings is they tell you to become the aware of your breath. You may have heard this all the time.
Many times.
But you see, when we say becoming aware of the breath, it is not becoming aware of the movement of the breath. Become aware where the breath stops. That moment. And once you have become really aware, first is milliseconds. And then the stargate between life and death. Coming is life, breath. Outgoing is death. Once it happens outside, once it happens inside. So outside emptiness, inside emptiness. In the words of the Buddha, the emptiness, within emptiness is form, within form is emptiness. Yad rupam sa shunyata, ya shunyata tad rupam, in the words of the Buddha. In the Heart Sutra, he says, within form is emptiness, within emptiness is form, and that is being experienced right under your nose. So the solution to every problem we are facing today is your breath. And that's why I say, sit, breathe, and be. And these signs have been tested, have been certified by the stars. So the solution to attachment or whatever emotion or thoughts you have is actually the end of your breath. Becoming conscious. And I'm repeating myself for the listeners. When we say become aware of your breath, everybody is teaching you to become aware of the moving movement of the breath. Do not focus on the movement of the breath. Become aware where the breath ends. Because that point is where the life and death is mixing. Or I will say where you transcend life and death. That is the union of Shiva and Shakti. Yin and Yang. Positive and negative.
And that's a simple, really, as you were saying in the beginning, about a shallow breath versus a deep, proper yogic breath.
Yes.
A shallow breath, shallow life,
Shallow.
deep breath, deep life.
That's it.
so simple.
It is very simple.
I love the simplicity that this stuff's coming down to,
Yeah.
because, we talked about it before we got on too, about the, different mudras and mantras and everything. But maybe we can talk about that when we come back.
Sure.
We're going to go to another song here.
Sure.
Thank you so much,
Thank you.
Yogi Amandeep. That was
Thank you.
fantastic. You just got me thinking about all sorts of cool things. So we're going to listen to another great song here from our friend here at Conscious Living Network and Conscious Living Radio, Will Blunderfeld. And this song is his Mool mantra. Listen in. You've been listening to Conscious Living Radio on 100.5 CFRO Co-op Radio in Vancouver.
I've been lost and so lonely. I've made so many mistakes. Somebody please help me turn it around. There's a crack in the wall, I see the light shine through. Maybe I can heal, maybe things will get better.
Welcome back to Conscious Living Radio, 100.5 CFRO in Vancouver. My name is Marc Caron, and you were just listening to Will Blunderfeld. That was his Mool mantra. Will is a local yogi musician, artist. He's going to be doing an up-close and personal event on September 24th here in Vancouver, where he's going to do some yoga and sing us basically his new album, which is going to be quite exciting to hear. If you've never had a chance to see or listen or experience Will, is a friend of our show. By all means, check that out, because it's an experience that you'll really never forget. And today in the studio, I welcome back Yogi Amandeep Singh. He's new to Vancouver. He's been from India to, I think, Singapore and other parts of Canada, but he's here in Vancouver now, sharing his wisdom and his teachings with us. And welcome back.
Thank you. Thank you.
It's a great pleasure to have you here. I really liked what you were sharing on the first half of the program.
Mm-hmm.
As simple as sit,
Breathe and be.
and be.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I love the simplicity. So let me ask you, where does mantras and mudras come into yoga and meditation these days?
Yes, so there are many ways to look at it. There's a traditional way of looking at it, and then there's a more, according to the time and space, which I prefer, to explain and share what they actually mean. So mantra in our day-to-day life, mantra is a positive word. So the moment you speak a positive word, it is imprinted in the Akashic records. That's very important. When the tongue moves, the tip of the tongue, the ancient sages, the Himalayan masters will ask, where is God? Where is the divine? And the reply came to that was the divine God sits on the tip of your tongue. Because your tongue creates, your tongue preserves, and your tongue destroys. We call it Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva, the creator, the preserver, and the destroyer. So the tongue is the very space or the realm of God. Okay? So when you move your tongue consciously, now the dome of your mouth corresponds to the dome of the universe. Kundalini, we have talked about that. We have read, we have heard that Kundalini sits in the base of your spine.
Okay? Coiled up, they say, like a serpent.
But when she's awakened, where is she? She's at the tip of your tongue. Mantra is conscious, positive words. The more positive words you speak, the words of love, the words of gratitude, the words of devotion. So the more in devotion, in gratitude, in gratefulness, when you move your tongue, right, that is called mantras. Okay, one is man and one is tra. So mana means mind and tra means waves of the mind. When your tongue, usually the mind guides our tongue in an unenlightened state. Okay, the mind guides the tongue. In the awakened state, the tongue guides the mind.
And I might even be as brave to say that, even in today's world, it's quite often for many people the unconscious and subconscious mind is controlling the tongue versus a conscious mind.
Therefore,
right?
Yes.
Because so many of us don't even know what we're saying in our language.
Exactly. And after saying it, we regret. So the more regretful you are in your day-to-day, it means the more unconscious you are. So moving the tongue consciously is actually moving Kundalini. So mantra is when you can move your tongue consciously. That is mantra. Although mantra also means the sacred sounds and the sacred vibrations,
Which again is the power of good word.
Beautiful.
It is sacred,
it is
right?
codified, revealed frequencies. So from that perspective, there are 8.4 million frequencies in the creation. Our breath, our heart, our cells, and everything around in the skies, in the earth, and in the stars, something is moving. So collectively, there are 8.4 million sounds. And when we are born, we are taking the birth process. That moment, all these 88.4 million frequencies, create an imprint on us. And that imprint gives us our frequency, gives us our vibrations, the vibration of life. We start to vibrate, right? And so the source of your birth is the 8.4 million sound currents called the mantras. And they are actually very simple. They are a, I, u, o, k, ka, ke, ki, ku, ku, and like that it goes on and on and on and on, and different variations. So all our sounds, all the languages we speak, if we were to break them down, they actually go down into the sounds. So the source of creation are frequencies, the binary notes you can call it. And we are sustained by this frequency. We are born because of the frequencies, and we are sustained by these frequencies. And at the time of death, we also hear these 8.4 million frequencies, and we dissolve back into frequency, unless you need to reincarnate, and then you come back again to keep, until you do not find your sound, until you do not find your frequency, until you do not find your vibration, you keep coming back. We are born out of this sound, we are sustained by sound, and the sound dissolves us. And until we do not find that sound, now in English we use this word universe, the one verse, which is the source of these 8.4 million verses or sounds or frequencies. So we are here to find that sound. And finding that sound is called mantra. So the more positive you are, the easier for you to tap into that frequency of the stars, of the moon, of the sun, of the earth, of the ocean, of the mountains, of the trees, of the monkeys, and of the whatever around you. Right? So that is mantra. Now we come to mudra.
I like that. The power of the word for me has just always been really important in language and how we use it, how we speak it. And, I love the correlation you made with that in terms of mantra, because it can be almost anything that we say can be a mantra.
Yes.
Right? And
I always say, somebody asks me, what is the highest mantra? And I say the highest mantra is ha 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 ha, laugh.
Well, it's so true. Laughing is so important. I met a fellow a couple of weeks ago. I was doing a program, and because we were talking about laughing and things, and he says he hasn't laughed like for a long time.
Yes.
And I said, when was the last time you had like a good butt gusting, like side stitching laugh that leaves you out of breath and in abdominal pain? And it'd been for like years.
Yes.
And it's just, who doesn't love to, I love laughing. Humor to me is just such a beautiful thing.
In the East, we have a Buddha who is known as the laughing Buddha.
Yes.
So just through laughter, he attained Buddhahood. So any ordinary activity, when done in its totality, helps you to awaken to yourself. So laughter have been used by the ancient masters. Even in the Kundalini tradition, we use laughter to, laughter, when you are laughing, you cannot think.
So true.
And all the problems are there because we think and think and think, overthinking. There's a sutra in the yogic teachings which says socha soch na hovai, which means thinking and thinking and thinking, and it's not going to solve your problems. Okay? So when you go beyond the realm of thinking, you can call it no mind, from the Buddhist perspective, or shunya, whatever, laughter automatically, in the moment, brings you into that statement. The problem is we are not conscious. So when you laugh consciously, you will be amazed for that a few moments when you're laughing, your story is deleted. So your story, which is constantly, most of us, our story is complaining all the time. I don't have this, I need this, So that's our story. So laughter helps you to dissolve you so that you can experience the higher you. So laughter is another great mantra.
I love it. So there you have it, folks. Laugh more. Consciously laugh more.
Yes.
And breathe more. Sit more presence.
Yes.
So now let's go to mudras.
Mudras.
And mudras are typically, from my understanding, those are the hand positions. When we see Buddhas and yogis, they're either thumb to forefinger or in different positions and things of that nature.
Yes.
So what is the power and the effect of a mudra in yoga?
Yes.
Especially since there's so many of them.
Yes. So hands, the movement of the hands, is called the mudras. Your hands are extension of your heart. When your heart likes something, your hands go forward and grab it. And when your heart don't like something, the same hands throw it away. So hands are an extension of your heart. When you move your hands, you move your heart. That's why when you get involved, even while you and me are talking, when you were asking me this question, your hands were moving.
Yeah, I'm a hand talker.
That's mudra.
And so are you. Look at your hands going.
That is mudra. That is mudra. When your hands are synchronized with your heart, it's called mudra. Okay? Although in the traditional way of explaining, when the hands, for example, one of the most common mudra actually means seals, to seal the energy. Now, because the hands are an extension of the heart, right? So energy is constantly coming out of the hands, and we have this healing system, the Reiki healing, pranic healing, or touch healing and all that stuff. What they're doing, they are using the power of the heart, which flows through your hands and through the meridians of the hands, and you channel it to someone else. So healing is an ultimate conscious awakening of the heart, where you want to give a part of you to somebody. And automatically healing happens. And prana starts to flow, chi starts to flow from your hands. So
and when you are open, I know I can speak for myself, when you're open, my hands just start tingling, they get all really warm and hot, and it's a beautiful thing when you actually feel it and connect and you're actually with it.
Beautiful.
So I know, of what you're speaking, because I've experienced it many, many times, and I can almost dial into it at will. So I totally agree with what you're saying, but I'd never heard of it actually being connected to the heart in that way. So it's profound, and it makes so much simple sense.
Exactly. So then in the traditional understanding, the different types of mudras, and again there are 8.4 million types of mudras.
Okay.
So in the yogic teaching,
frequency.
So there's 8.4 million mantras, 8.4 million breath exercises, 8.4 million mantras, and it goes on and on and on and on and on. And so one of the most frequently used mudra is your left hand, which represents your negative mind, and your right hand, which represents the positive mind. You bring both of them in the center of your heart. So this is, and you touch, and it's called the prayer pose. And this is called heart-to-heart connection.
And is it true that your thumb should be just touching your heart? Is there there's some truth to that?
Some people say it touches the heart, and when your heart, you will know when you are in the state of the heart, in the space of the heart, there is no guidance, there is only experiences.
Okay, so now I have a question for you.
Yes.
So if the left is negative and the right is positive,
yes.
If I'm left-handed, does it mean the right's negative and the left is positive?
So when
does that matter?
So when I say negative mind, it's not the negative. Negative here is like what if?
Okay.
It's what if this glass of water I'm holding, what if it fall down? So consciously I will move it away from the tip of the table. So this is what I meant by negative. So what will be the negative outcome of a certain activity? It warns me. Negative mind guides you. It's the ultimate guide. So it's not the negative. It is the most important guidance the universe have given you. So that's what I meant. The mind, which guides you through a negative outcome and which guides you through a positive outcome.
I was also thinking, when I asked the question, I started thinking like a battery, thinking, like positive, negative charge.
Exactly.
When we take a look at energy.
Exactly.
And then when we bring them together, it becomes complete.
It's the neutral gear, the car, you put into the neutral gear. So this is the vehicle, and you're bringing the two, the negative and the positive in the center of the chest. You go into neutral pose. And I usually say this, when you fold your hands, this folds your mind. When you're overthinking, right? So as you mentioned, the two polarities, the negative and the positive charge, when you close the circuit, the energy starts to circuit within you. So when you are overthinking, just bring the hands in the center of the chest in a prayer pose and sit, breathe through the navel and breathe from the navel. This also helps to come out of negative thought pattern or repetitive thought pattern. Most of us, we go into a certain mode and we want to come out of that mode. Now at that moment, the moment you bring your hands in the center of the chest into the prayer pose and you go into the neutral gear, automatically bring awareness to the breath and allow the breath to go deep. So overthinking is a shallowness of life. So
Shallow breath.
Yes, so start
Which
inhaling.
is very common to what we live in our world today. It's all short, shallow breaths. Why we have stress, anxiety, all sorts of frustration, reaction, because we're in that place, as you were speaking of. And I know when I worked hard to consciously change my bad breathing habits, life certainly changed, become a lot calmer, a lot more connected, a lot more flow. And then if I ever catch myself getting a little stressed out or anything of that nature when I get busy, I always go to my breath. So
beautiful.
I loved how simply you describe that with shallow breath.
I want to add just one more thing. So this is the rib cage.
Yeah.
This is the cage within which your consciousness is engaged. So you have to bring your breath beyond the rib cage so that you can escape the cage. And that is your navel. Deep breathing. So come out of the cage. Yes. So the breath takes you out of the cage. Your consciousness is engaged. So the deeper you breathe, the deeper the freedom will be.
Wow. Well, I am so glad you came on the show today. Excuse me. Now, you're now in Vancouver. You say you're living in Delta. We've got about 5 minutes or so left. So maybe we can talk about how, if people want to get a hold of you, they can reach out to your website. I know we had talked earlier that you and I are going to plan some events and maybe do something monthly or start bringing your teachings to our community, which I'd be happy to do. And I know as we put this together, we didn't create anything at this point, but we will. So maybe you can tell everybody how they can get a hold of you, how they can reach you. And
so it's called the Ethernet.
Yes. What is that?
It's the yogic version of the internet.
It's one of those things that when it goes down, especially here in the studio before a show, we panic.
So yogiamandeepsingh.com. And if you visit that website and if you scroll all the way down, there's a newsletter. You can sign up for the newsletter to stay in touch with the upcoming workshops and book releases, CDs, and the music. And so that's yogiamandeepsingh.com. And there's also another website called the makingofayogi.com. makingofayogi.com. These are retreats, intensive retreats that we do every year in the Himalayas. Really authentic. We go back to the original monasteries, 4,000, 3,000, 5,000 years old.
Wow.
We go back into the caves where this wisdom was given birth. So the womb of the yogic wisdom. So every year we visit a different location in the Himalayas. So this year is all booked, but visit that website, makingofayogi.com. So two websites, yogiamandeepsingh.com and makingofayogi.com. Other than that, I believe you guys have also some information on your website.
Yeah, it's all on our website at consciousliving.org for our regular listeners. They can catch it all there and follow the links. And I want to thank you on behalf of our listeners and our community as well, because you also provided us with a gift for everybody, which was a visualization meditation, I believe.
Yes, where we teach you how to go inside, how to go into your body. It's the inner travel.
Yeah, that's the one, the inner travel guided visualization.
The different sacred sites within the human body. So we're visiting every sacred site with the help of the breath. So that is the visualization.
Beautiful. Well, thank you so much for your generosity in sharing that. I look forward to sitting with that myself and tuning into more of your teachings.
Thank you.
So let me ask you this. We usually have our co-host Tasha here. She was not able to make it today. I'm not sure what she was up to. I know it was her birthday last week. But she always asks the question, your wish for the world, your wish for humanity. What is that? What would you like to see in your lifetime?
Yes, beautiful. How I wish we all can learn to love. It's very important. Very important. So that's the ultimate. How to love. That's it.
So then let me. We got a couple more minutes left.
Yeah.
How do we love? Because love is sometimes a very overused word, and we all like to think
Beautiful.
about love. So, if we are love and we're unconditional love at our source? Then how do we get there?
I said love.
Oh, laugh?
And you heard it love, because love and laugh are one.
Oh, all right. Well, laugh. Oh,
Laugh.
I'm good with that. And with laughter comes
Laughter.
that presence.
Exactly.
Where love
Laugh from
exists.
your navel. When you are laughing, open the mouth wide and move the navel. So navel, the realm of your being, the paradise. Open the lock of your paradise through the highest mantra, which is ha, 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 ha. So laughter, that is my wish, that we learn how to laugh.
I love it. So that's your exercise for you, everybody out there listening today. Do something after the show, after you listen to this, whether you listen to it on a podcast or anywhere. Your exercise today is laugh. Laugh naturally. Laugh from your navel.
Beautiful.
Laugh with love. Laugh with joy.
Yes.
Laugh with humor. Laugh with playfulness. Because who doesn't love to laugh? I know I do.
Beautiful.
Wow. Yogi Amandeep, I'm so honored to be in your presence and have
Thank
you in the
you.
studio today and
Thank
have
you.
this conversation. You've given me a lot to think about, and I hope you did the same for our listeners, and I'm sure you did. So we're going to sign off today with Theta Phoenix. She's going to sing us a song about transformation called Butterfly. She's performing an opening act for our guest from a couple of weeks ago, Sunny Davis with Tatwari. There's a up-close and personal event this Sunday, and Theta Phoenix will be opening for that show. We look forward to that. So you have been listening to Conscious Living Radio on Co-op Radio, CFRO 100.5 in Vancouver. Thank you very much for listening. And again, we thank Yogi Amandeep for coming in.
Thank you. Blessings to all of you. May the universe bless everyone with health, wealth, and prosperity, and the highest gift, and that is how to laugh.
I love it. Thank you so much, Yogi Amandeep. It's been a pleasure.
So now.
We are children in this universe when we allow our innocence to lead. Chasing butterflies across the sky, dancing through the fields. Caterpillar inches up the tree with such a steady contemplation. He holds a secret deep inside. It's the truth of transformation. There you are, running through the fields, soaring with the wind, guiding on the breeze. You are When the time is right, the caterpillar weaves itself into a cocoon. We cannot rush the process, no, don't want to break her out too soon.